So how is intelliflo helping firms unlock the power of their data? You've got access to so much data. Sometimes it can be incredibly overwhelming, especially for customers and clients. How do they make sense of all this data? So with partnerships with like Snowflake and Amazon Q, how is intelliflo helping firms unlock the power of their data?
So I suppose, so we're a software as a service business, and software as a service started, I guess, in the early 2000s, something like that, and changed the dynamic by which businesses ran their technology systems. Everyone used to have it on their, there'd be a server in the corner of the room and what have you, and people would put that there. And there were lots of reasons why that wasn't great. Cost of ownership, ability to improve and scale and all of that kind of stuff. But what it did do was it meant that the database very often was local to the user, to the firm who used it. And SaaS kind of took that away. What we've done though with Snowflake, with our initiative there, is essentially we've put that data back in your hands. So it's access to that full data. So you can run and access, as I was talking to one of the people who were attending the conference earlier, and they were saying, so I could actually run SQL queries against the data. And that might be very geeky for a lot of people, but it's really cool in terms of getting power and access to that information. So what we've tried to do is we've said, right, we've tried to give access to that database in a way that makes it easier. So that works really well, I think, largely for the people who are quite technical. And then what Amazon Q does is kind of address the other side of the equation. And it means that for everyone who's maybe not quite so technical, but still wants insights from the data, they can just use their voice to find out information, to ask questions. And the way you kind of use ChatGPT today, and where you just sort of start a conversation and you find out more information. But in this instance, in a highly regulated instance, it's all tied there within your data set. So there's no other influences. You ask it to come back with the information, analyze that information, graph it if you want to, without having to write a single line of code or knowing anything about systems.
Just removing some of those unnecessary steps that sometimes prevent people from progressing because they get to a hurdle and they think, no, I don't know what I'm doing here. And just move on. And I think this is another great example, to say it again, how powerful collaboration can be. Joining forces with other platforms, other companies, to really make to bolster the experience for the end user.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at both Snowflake and Amazon on, they do different things, but they are global leaders in what they do. And by harnessing the power of what they've done, building it into our capability, we think we're really offering the UK advice marketplace the best of breed options that they can have.
Yeah, I agree. So how do tools like intelliflo, zerokey and wealthlink address the industry's biggest pain points around inefficiency?
So the guys at zerokey are fantastic. They're a great organization who themselves, as former advisors, understand some of the pain points. So I think that's quite important. When you're coming up with a need that you're trying to address, if you felt that pain yourself, it makes you uniquely qualified to do something about it. And what they've done is they've built a really neat solution which enables the passing of data from, in this case, intelliflo Office, directly into either a third-party software tool, and there's about a dozen or so integrated with it, I think, from the start, or separately on the other tool into a retail platform. And that's what we think that's really important, right? Because we launched wealthlink about 2 years ago, and our whole ambition with wealthlink was to create a completely joined up journey for that implementation. You remember earlier I said about how we'd done, how we wanted to join up fact finding, advice and implementation. And wealthlink is that final bit of that straw. It has the entire front end essentially of a platform, the bits that the advisors or paraplanners use, directly there within intelliflo, so you never need to change a journey. But wealthlink at the moment works with SS&C, and whilst it's an open architecture solution, we don't envisage that there'll be lots of platforms who use it. So we wanted to create something for the people who are using other platforms as well, and that's what we did with zerokey. Create some joining up there, so data can be pre-populated, so you still swivel chair, but you're swivel chairing with some data there.
So we're talking about tools that are, tackling these internal inefficiencies and those time-consuming processes that would be better if we didn't have those. We'd free up more time to have more FaceTime with clients or to work on more important things, and just tackling system limitations. It's tackling all of those things.
Absolutely, and I think that's the sort of a good summary of everything we're doing, and indeed a good summary of AI. There's a lot of I've had a few conversations today where people are talking, particularly if they've got kids, or grown-up kids who are going, and I myself do too, where you're kind of worried about, is AI going to change the world in a way that's not good? And there'll definitely be some things we don't like, but I think there'll be more things that we do like. And the reality is, I think that actually, if you embrace AI, and no one in this marketplace has anything to fear from AI, because if they embrace it, it will enable them to do more things, do more value-added stuff, take away some of the stuff which is burdensome, frankly, and allow them that client-facing time, that opportunity to see the output and be a quality control, if you like, on terms of the output, not just let the technology go on its own merry way. So I think all of these things give that potential for advice businesses to do what advice businesses should do, which is give advice.
Yeah. And do you think you've got your work cut out a little bit in terms of getting people on side of the tech? Because let's face it, take AI for example. It's such a huge buzzword. Everyone's talking about it. Sometimes there's so much fuzz that people, it's being talked about as a nefarious force. It's going to take our jobs, it's going to replace people. But to your point, it's something that complements humans. It complements the journey. Yeah. But is it quite tough for you trying to onboard clients and get them to understand that this technology could really be crucial and beneficial to their future?
I think for some, yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Some people do see it as a threat, but I think more people have seen the good side of what it can deliver and see how it can actually scale their business. It's one of the things we talked about Flow earlier, the interactive assistant, and I'm really excited about that because one of the things about Flow that we want to deliver is that educational point. And whether it's about AI with intelliflo IQ or any of our other offerings, we want Flow to actually help people adopt the technology. Because adoption of technology is not just about AI, it's about all of the rest of it too. And actually that's one of the big things that we want all of our users to be able and feel empowered to do, is explore what more the technology can do. And Flow should be there to help you along your way. She should provide prompts. She should say, this, I've seen that you're not doing this. Have you seen this capability? Would you like me to show you how it works? All of that kind of stuff. I think that's really important. So
we're quite used to having these interactions with these virtual assistants, but kind of streamlining that and putting that into the world of financial advice, I think is a very clever move.
And isn't it incredible? It's only, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago when people were talking, our experience of a chatbot was often through like a retail shop or something. You go through and you'd be asking to return something, and the answers were very often, don't understand that, dial this number.
To the point where you'd end up slamming your laptop down and forget
What's the point?
I'll call and wait for hours instead.
Unless there's a human being behind it, I'm not interested.
Yeah, exactly. So it's finally intelligent enough to have these conversations, and that is where the innovation is. That's where the excitement is, I think.
Very much so.
Yeah.